Hi, Amanda's back, and we are for round two. And this time CJ has picked our topic, and it's from a song by Charlotte Martin, whom we both adore very much. She's an excellent artist. So, if you're into music at all and you're into skilled piano playing and excellent songstress skills, then definitely look her up. She's fantastic. But anyway, the song is titled Civilized, and the lyric that she picked out for us to talk about is not saying you deserve to die, just saying that you deserve yourself. So, even though the last video, if you guys watched, I personally argued within the context of the entire quote, this time I won't argue in the context of this song, because one, it's not the most famous song in the world, and I'm sure most of you guys haven't even heard of the song, never mind heard of Charlotte Martin. So, this is a quote that I think is just so, it's so daunting and it's just so big. I'd rather just kind of talk about the quote just per se. So first of all, if you're saying something like you only deserve yourself, you don't deserve to die, that, first of all, you can just cut off every tie, whether it's friendly or romantic, any relationship at all that you have, gone. So let's take a minute to just imagine that, because I know that, my people, whether they're my family members or my friends or my boyfriend, anyone, like, obviously, they matter a lot to me, and they influence me, of course. I mean, we're influenced by people every day, all the time, and I think we sometimes even take for granted, if you're walking down the street and you don't know where you're going, you're going to ask someone for directions. So this quote was saying, you don't deserve to have anyone doing anything for you. You don't deserve anyone but yourself. So you can take out your mother, your father, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, and the random person on the street that might be able to help you to get where you have to be on time. So that's alone a very scary thought. I think if you don't have anyone to motivate you positively or even negatively, like someone who is not, you don't have anyone who's going to push you forward or push you backward, or anyone who can maybe even inspire you to be more independent and less influenced by other people. Whether you're influenced directly or indirectly, you're going to be influenced by people. And if you don't have that, the potential for this whole situation is pretty big now that I think about it. Okay, so if you are cutting yourself off from everyone and you're left with only yourself, there is a huge, I keep using this word, stagnation, but it's something that I greatly dislike and something you could even say that I fear. I can honestly say that there are a few things that I fear, but stagnation is certainly something that I think is scary. Nothing is moving, and I think of just still water and, things not being able to run and flow, and things just sitting and festering and dying. I think that all things have to move. I mean, look at the human body, even. When it doesn't move, what does it look like? Hi, most of the United States of America. Moving on. It's really sad. And I work at a pizzeria, so I see that stuff all the time. Like, people, please move. Anyway, oh god, I digress. I'm like the queen of digression. Anyway, so stagnation is unhealthy. It's just straight up unhealthy. Even if you're being, like, mentally stimulated, I think that, it's scary when you think about people who, are put into straitjackets and just put in an isolation room. What usually happens to people when they're just alone and all they have is themselves and no human contact, they go crazy. It's unnatural. It's just not humane to just be forever by yourself without any human contact whatsoever. I'm not even go as far as to say that everyone needs love like that, but without any human contact at all, anyone to be able to just see, just to visually just be like, there are people and they exist, and that's great. If you don't have that, I know if I wouldn't have that, that would just, drive just about anyone who is not mad. And I certainly wouldn't want to do that to somebody who's already crazy. That would just make them madder, I think. Now as I'm doing this, I feel myself tumbling into a whole new argument. Oh my god, because I was just saying that I wouldn't want to do that to somebody. And then it's kind of, what solution is there? Is there death? I mean, people say that death is the easy way out, that death is an escape. And some people would rather die than live with themselves, if they've done so much wrong, someone who maybe killed their mother or something and they just can't live with themselves. That's why some murderers, I guess, shoot themselves after they commit a murder, because they don't want to live with themselves, don't want to live in jail, don't want to live in isolation. I can't say I blame them. At the same time, I ultimately don't believe in the death penalty, even though I've been on the fence for a very long time. But that's, CJ, if you want to take that on another day, we can totally talk about the death penalty or something like that another day. I'm certainly up for that. Anyhow, I'm going to try and stay on topic here. So, okay, so if you're left with only yourself, there is a great chance of stagnation occurring. So, stagnation occurring, that's almost like an oxymoron if nothing is moving. Moving on. So, oh god. Oh, I'm bad. So, okay, so we had that down. And kind of expanding on the potential, like other possible things that could happen if you're left with only yourself. It's almost like one of those things where you're in the middle of two extremities, like two extremes. Sorry. So you can either have everything bad go wrong. That should be pretty obvious to people. If you're left with only yourself, and like, let's say, you know, providing that this person who only deserves him or herself is a terrible person and did something wrong, hence why we're saying you only deserve yourself, you don't deserve to die. So assuming that this person's a terrible person, I'm trying to remember how to word this, you know, the negative tendencies within the person that could either manifest into like outward attacks and could make the person, you know, maybe act out even worse, because everything is just building up inside, and since they're only left with themselves, and it's kind of like there's no release, and if it's just kind of conflicting and building and conflicting, then it's all going to explode, which is never fun for anyone. And everyone's heard about that kid in high school who gets bullied and has no one to turn to but himself and then explodes. Never fun. So either that could happen, or you could be the more self-destructive type and wind up doing something to yourself, something extreme. Maybe you can just cock it and pull it, you know? So that could happen. Or if you're left with only yourself, like I said, we have extremes here, so on the extremely positive side is that if you're left with only yourself, that's the ultimate way to get yourself back to a better place, because, I mean, there's nothing I mean, obviously it's great when you, if you're on a sports team or on a dance team, or just if you're working in business or something in groups, and you and your group achieve some sort of a victory or accomplishment together, that's obviously that's such a victory. But nothing compares to when you can accomplish something all on your own, and I don't think anything could ever beat that. There's nothing quite like being able to achieve something, especially something, you know, personally huge, when you are the only one defending yourself and the only one battling. There is nothing greater and more admirable than that, in my opinion. So that if you're left with only yourself, that leaves you to the possibility of, you know, if you can and if you wish to, be able to revitalize everything and kind of, you know, start over, so to speak, and be able to pull yourself up higher and higher and higher onto a new, fresh, I guess more positive ground, which obviously could be a huge achievement, a big deal. And I mean, from there, a whole new set of possibilities could happen. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, you can only look up, and that's always a great place to be. And I think that we should all strive to be a place like that. Anyway, so like I said, there's a world of possibilities, and you can either achieve a lot or lose a lot, depending on which route you decide to take. But either way, a lot of work is going to be cut out for you if you're left with only yourself. You have no one to do anything to, to lead you or mislead you or follow you or stab you in the front or stab you in the back. So if you're left with only yourself, like I said, a lot of work is going to be taken. It's going to be very trying no matter what you do, whether you're going to let it build and manifest inside, and whether you act upon it or act upon it on yourself, or whether you decide to go out and just make yourself a new person, kind of like go through a personal metamorphosis. That would be awesome, that would be stellar, but it will be all up to you. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I would want to say about that. I feel like I just digressed and branched off like 10,000 times. I don't remember where I am anymore. Not saying you deserve to die, only you deserve it yourself. Yeah, I would say that's pretty much it. I think that is a very profound quote with lots of possibilities to sum it up. CJ, I'm going to turn it over to you, especially since you picked out this quote. I'm hoping that, well, I'm assuming even that you're going to have lots of stuff to say as well. So thank you very much for watching. CJ and I will discuss the next topic, and if you guys have any suggestions, please bring them over. We already got a few suggestions, so CJ and I will roll those over, and hopefully we'll get some of those requests that you guys made. Alright, thank you very much for watching. I'm Amanda. Bye.